اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق. The descriptive phrase where one or more word described another word. So we've done many examples of these. Inshallah, I'm sure you're familiar with the rules for the descriptive phrase. In the descriptive phrase, all the four properties must match. And we've seen this example here before. Al-Masjidul Kabiru, the big mosque. Al-Masjidul Kabiru or Al-Masjidu Al-Kabiru. You can see definiteness, gender, they're both masculine, and number, they're both singular, and the Arab. All four properties need to match. Please note the distinction between sentence and phrase here. But if I want to say the big school, exactly the same principle must apply. Since the school is feminine, the word kabir must also be converted to feminine. So I have al-madrasatul kabiratu. Al-madrasatu al-kabiratu. So all the four properties matching. These are the basic principle. Very simple rule to remember. All the four properties must match between the noun being described and the description. Of course, you can have more than one description. All of them will copy or match the four properties of the noun being described. Again, I remind you the noun being described in Arabic is called mawsuf, and the adjective, it can be called sifa. There's also another word for naat, but we'll just use sifa for now. Take a close look at these adjective phrases in English. I have a wise student, masculine. Then I have a wise female student. Then I have the pious teacher, masculine. And then I have the pious teacher, feminine. Let's do these. These should be enough, inshallah ta'ala, to give you the basics of the rule. So the word school student here is the noun being described. And again, we know that needs to come first. In this instant, it is masculine. So it will be talibun. Okay. Wise will be hakimun. Okay, talibun, hakimun, a wise student. Now, if I wanted to say female student, a wise student, exactly the same principle as I've shared with you. Talibatun, hakimatun. Very simple principle, inshallah ta'ala. Next, we have the pious teacher. Now, the teacher needs to come first because the noun being described is teacher and is masculine. So it will be al-muallimu. It is masculine, al-muallimu, and it'll be the word pious, as-salihu. Again, you can see how very easy that we are getting all the four properties to match. Next, we have the pious female teacher. So that will be al-muallimatu as-salihatu, or if you read it separately, al-muallimatu as-salihatu. Again, you can see the four properties matching. Now, lastly, we have a big new school. The word for school in Arabic is, of course, madrasatun. So it's feminine. So the word big and new are both descriptions. So they need to come afterwards. And they need to be also in the feminine form. Kabiratun, and we'll do jadidatun. Again, we have now 5 examples of descriptive phrases where the most important rule to remember, all the 4 properties match. And this is why I'm taking you through each of the properties in detail. Otherwise, you'll learn a lot of Arabic and you have to come back and relearn everything again. So the lessons are designed this way so that we cover all the important points that you need to get you to at least intermediate level in Arabic. And these are the points I've been sharing with you. 4 properties. All of them need to match. So far, of course, we've done Arab, definiteness, and gender. We'll look at number later. Just to reiterate the point about the matching of all the words again in the descriptive phrases, I've got some on the screen here, which I've done for you already, just for you to be aware of what is going on. So in the first example, a big, new, beautiful house, baytun, kabirun, jamilun, jadidun. All four properties following in from the noun being described, which is right at the beginning. Then we have a big, beautiful room. The word room is, of course, feminine. Ghurfatun, kabiratun, jamilatun, jadidatun. Again, we have, in the last example, the big, new, beautiful masjid or mosque. Al-masjidu, al-kabiru, al-jamilu, al-jadidu. Again, I'm reading them separately just so that you're aware of the words. A big, new, beautiful school. Al-madrasatu, al-kabiratu, al-jamilatu, al-jadidatu. Again, you can see the four properties matching, and you can have more than one description. Please note these examples in your notebook, and they will help you remember the basic rule of descriptive phrases, which is relatively easy. It does get more complex when we have more than one word and structures, but we'll look at them later. If you master this, the rest will be a lot easier for you, inshallah. Here is some more for you to do based upon the vocabulary I've already shared with you, but I've given you the vocabulary again. Please look at these examples, translate them into Arabic. You know what to do. Pause the video, complete the task before continuing. Okay, brothers and sisters, here are the answers for you. Please do check them. I hope I have not made any mistakes there. Please check them through, inshallah ta'ala, and see if you got them right. I hope, again, you've done the exercises. If you're not, you're only letting yourself down. Let's take a closer look at the nominal sentence and the descriptive phrase. As we mentioned earlier in the previous session, that the differences between them sometimes can be very subtle, and it's very difficult for new students to recognize the differences between them and, of course, translate correctly from Arabic to English. Take a close look at the three structures we have on the screen. I'm confident by now, inshallah, with some practice, you should be easily able to translate these three, even though I've given you the translation at the bottom. What I'd like you to note, in the first one, we have the first part is definite and the second part is indefinite. We have, of course, the first part being masculine singular rafa, second part being indefinite masculine singular and rafa. So we have all the condition for fulfilling a sentence in Arabic: definite, indefinite, rafa and rafa. In the second example, we have the first one being indefinite and the second one also indefinite on all the other conditions. You can see masculine singular rafa, masculine singular rafa. So we have a phrase, all the four properties matching. In the third example, we also have definite and definite, definite masculine singular rafa, definite masculine singular rafa. So you can see again it's also a phrase. So we have two descriptive phrases in one sentence. All of it is really the game of the four properties. If you can recognize the four properties from here, you should be able to distinguish and translate correctly. Now let's look at the feminine version of exactly the same thing. We have the school is new, we have a new school, and we also have the new school. Exactly the same thing we have here: definite followed by indefinite, 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 definite, and definite. Again, if you take a look at the four properties, you'll see they're matching. So that's how you distinguish between simple nominal sentences and simple descriptive phrases in Arabic. This is quite important because they will come in random. You're not going to get them in the order that I'm putting, of course. As long as you can start recognizing the four properties, you should be able to translate correctly when we have a sentence or when we have a phrase. So I have now another task for you to complete. I have six structures in here on the screen. The first one, a wise boy, the boy is wise. Then I have a wise girl, the girl is wise. So using the vocabulary on the right hand side, which you can see here, what I'd like you to do is translate these correctly from English to Arabic. Pause the video, complete the task before continuing. I hope and pray that you've done the exercise. Please see the answers on the screen. Please compare that with what you've written down in your notebook. If there's any mistakes, go back and review. Inshallah ta'ala, a few times you'll get it correct, inshallah. The more mistakes you make, the quicker you will learn. The only way you won't learn is if you don't practice. We've been using the three sentences to illustrate i'rab. In this session, we're going to quickly look at how that impacts when the doer is feminine. So let's remind ourselves of the three sentences first. A Muslim came, Ja'a Muslimun. I saw a Muslim, Ra'aytu Musliman. I gave salam to a Muslim, Sallamtu ala Muslimin. In the first one, it is rafa. Why? Because it is the doer. In the second one, it needs to be nasab. Why? Because it is the object. In the third one, it is jar. Why? Because it's coming after words like ala. So this is the three template sentences. Now it is exactly the same whether we use definite or indefinite, the verbs remain the same. So instead of saying a Muslim came, we are going to say the Muslim came. We will have ja al Muslimu. I saw the Muslim, ra'aytul Muslima, and I gave salam to the Muslim, sallamtu ala al-Muslimi. So you can see the three different versions, whether it's definite or indefinite. Now let's take a look what happens if the doer is feminine. The first two sentences we have here is ja'a talibun and ja'a talibu. A student came, the student came. So there is no change at all. Now, instead of saying a male student came, I want to say a female student came. What are the changes I need to make? So in order to do that, the verb must be also feminine. So the verb version we're going to use is ja'at. So please note this simple change. Ja'at. And then we say talibatun. Who came? A female student came. Again, note with the definite is exactly the same. Ja'at at-talibatu. Now there is a problem if I read them together. What happens is that we have two sukoons coming together. So I got to join the ta with the next part, and I cannot do that in Arabic. I cannot read two words where the last word ends with sukoon and the next word begins with a sukoon. So what do we do in that circumstances? Just to help us read, we change that to a kasra. So ja'atit talibatu. So ja'atit talibatu. Now for the other sentence, we don't need to make any changes because in those two sentences, the doer is still the same, I. So there is no change to the ism at all. Of course, I saw ra'aytu taliban and I saw the student ra'aytu taliba. Exactly same as before and same thing again. We don't need to change the verb because the verb, the doer is not masculine or feminine. In this case, I am the doer. So please note that very simple change. Ja'at. And if it's with al afterwards, you just change the ta to a kasra and ja'atit talibatu. This is a very, very important rules, inshallah. Again, I'm giving you these because I want you to practice what you're learning. Otherwise, we'll be waiting months before we can practice the sentences. So please use them, inshallah. Just note the slight difference. When the doer is feminine, you use ja'at. And then when the doer is masculine, you use ja'a. Of course, we will have detailed lessons in the verb section where you will recognize how to use which verb to use when. So when I want to say a female Muslim came, I would say ja'at Muslimatun. I saw a female Muslim, Ra'aytu Muslimatan. And I gave salam to a Muslim, Sallamtu ala Muslimatin. And in the same case with the definite, I would say Ja'atil Muslimatu. Please note the change here, the kasra, to help us read it correctly. And Ra'aytu al-muslimata or ra'aytul muslimata and sallamtu ala al-muslimati at the end. So it is only when the doer is feminine do we change the verb to the feminine form. I have now a very nice task for you to do. I'd like you to not only form two descriptive phrases, but put them in the three sentences that we've been practicing so far. And one version will be a pious girl. A pious girl came. I saw a pious girl. I gave salam to a pious girl. In the one below, I want you to write the Arabic version of the pious girl came. I saw the pious girl. I gave salam to the pious girl. So please do these in Arabic. Inshallah, they're going to give you plenty of practice of all the little bits and pieces that we've been practicing so far. Inshallah, please do the exercise. Pause the video, complete the task before continuing. Please check the answers. Here are the model answers for you. And again, please don't worry about making mistakes. If you are making mistakes, alhamdulillah, it's an opportunity for you to identify where the misunderstanding is and correct them as you go along. The more mistakes you correct, the more your knowledge will advance. So please do not be afraid of making mistakes. It's the natural way of learning. The only mistake you can make, and which is serious mistake, is by not doing the exercises. You will never learn. All it will be is just a series of lectures. And I'm trying to avoid making short, quick videos on YouTube. I want you to learn. And this is the reason why I'm pushing you towards this direction. I hope and I pray that you are accepting my message and you are doing the practice sessions. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Now let us translate some text from Qur'an. Again, the purpose behind giving you some Quranic text is just to persuade you that you are learning things that are practical, that are absolutely necessary for understanding Qur'an, and nothing is in this course that is outside that narrow remit that I've set myself. And also I mentioned at the beginning that we are focused primarily on the essential Arabic necessary to understand Quran. So let's look at these pieces of text from the Quran. You have a set here, 7 of them. I could have given you a lot more, but I want to keep it short, inshallah. So look at these 7 structures, try to identify what's going on there, inshallah, and translate correctly using the vocabulary on the right hand side. Pause the video, complete the task before continuing. Okay, brothers and sisters, I've given you the references from the Quran in the middle there, the surah number and ayah. Also, I've given you the translation. I hope all the translations are correct. Please check them and also check your answers. And I hope and pray, inshallah, you are benefiting from doing these exercises. Alhamdulillah, we reached the end of lesson number 3, practical session. I do hope and pray that you are finding these sessions beneficial. Now, in YouTube, it is the vogue that all the lessons are very short or the lectures are very short and punchy. I'm trying to avoid that in these sessions. I want you all to learn. I don't want these videos to become just another lecture or a series of, lessons about grammar. No, the purpose for us being here is that we want to begin to understand Quran. And knowledge is a slow process, but it's a methodological process. If you follow the method, inshallah ta'ala, strictly, you will see the benefit very, very soon. So I don't apologize for long sessions or splitting the lessons up. I hope and pray that you're seeing beneficial. And again, these videos are not really trying to attract masses. We are trying to go to the people who want to learn Arabic. So if you are of those Muslims who are busy with your life and getting so many things done, and you don't really have the time or the opportunity to enter into full-time education, here is an opportunity for you, inshallah ta'ala. Watch these videos 2-3 times a week, spread out your study plan, inshallah ta'ala, and very soon you'll begin to appreciate the Quran in Arabic. So this is the end of the session. I hope and pray that you have found it beneficial. Please remember us in your dua. We will continue to upload as many videos as we can, and our intention, of course, is to complete the essential grammar required for understanding Quran through a series of videos that we're going to upload. May Allah reward all of you for your kind comments and your du'as. May Allah bless all of you, those who are sharing these videos with others. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all tawfiq to contribute to the teaching of Quran as well as learning ourselves. Jazakumullahu khairan. I look forward to seeing you all in lesson number 4, when we're going to be looking at the number of an ism. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
الذي علم بالقلم